did I do? This is what I did. So I didn't see the comments. Hmm. Foggy out this morning, but it's warm. Good morning. No, I really can't tell if anybody's here. Mouse cute. Hmm. Hi, whoever's here. I just wanted to talk this morning about basically all of our suffering. Well, the immediate, the deepest part is that we are separate from God, from life. And we are, but it comes along with we're not enough. And the very next one is I'm wrong. Something is wrong. Something's wrong with me. Okay, I want, hello, whoever's here. Oh, good morning, Constance. Waiting for that. Oh, I'm glad you're here. Good morning, Cynthia. Yeah, this whole idea of something's wrong with me, something's wrong with life, something's wrong. That drives every human to fight life, to come up against it when it's just what it is. It's only our mind or our beliefs of something's not right. They should, he should, I should be different than it is. And it isn't. It isn't. It's just what is. It's our literal thoughts that say it's wrong. And it's only saying that because it believes it's wrong. We believe we're wrong. That's why we have to fight to be right. I'm right. And listen, I am not any different than any of you. I find myself getting locked in sometimes on being right. That's just the way it is. But we can recognize it and it, actually recognize it when it's going on and just take a break. Do you have to be right? I always come back to when my mom and I were coming back from visiting my dad when he was dying, and she insisted that we were going on a certain road that I knew we weren't on. But I said, no, Mom, we took the Route 1 way instead of. And she goes, no, we're going to come out on certain road in Brunswick, Maine. And I didn't argue. I didn't have to argue. I didn't have to be right. That was huge for me. I knew she was going to see it on her own. It's okay for you don't have to be right. That fighting, that fighting causes so much pain and suffering in you. They feel it too, but it's this that just feels awful when you have to be right, when you're taking a stand and I'm right. Even even a friend of mine yesterday, I was playing with, or Friday I was playing with the AI. It says try it, so I tried that AI thing. You click on it and it recognizes your face and turns it into, one was a scientist, I think, or something, and the other one I picked it myself. It was an angel. We're all angels. We are all angels, and it looked good on me, the angel, but they just don't get the hair right. When the hair is right, that makes because my hair is just so odd compared to the average person. So the emojis used to be, they had my hair. Now they changed it all, and it's not my hair anymore. Anyway, um, got off the track. Um, ooh, I see blue sky. Squirrel. Um, yeah, having to be right. What was I saying? Does anybody remember what I was saying? Constance, my favorite mantra lately is everything is for my maximal. Yeah, thinking, well, like I posted this week, I was talking with somebody, and what came out of my mouth was, because she was so down on things, and I was saying, everything is a blessing. We just don't, we, we're not looking through that lens. We're looking through it being wrong, looking through the lens of, okay, this is a blessing. We don't know how, what in that moment, we don't need to, but it's always for our highest good, no matter what is happening. When you can embody that, what, nothing's wrong. It's okay. When the mind comes up and says, no, I want it a different way. I don't want it this way. Take a breath, go inside. The minute you take a breath, the body, because when there's a no, a strong no, like on the little things, just the little things, like when Peter leaves his brush out after every single day. I have to use his. We have a very small counter in our bathroom, and he always leaves his brush on the top. And he's done that as long as we've been together. Because I look back at, I was bitching about it way back. No, there was a no. He shouldn't be doing this. I have to put it. It doesn't take a second, maybe, to put the brush under the counter. Actually, you know what I do? I have toilet paper stored in a row. There's like three high all the way back. And in the first, the hole in the middle of the toilet paper, I put the handle of the brush in the toilet paper. I just open the door, plop, and I'm done. No big deal. I don't have to yell at him. I don't have to remind him. I don't just do it. It's just what is. It's okay. There's no skin off my back. It's for maximal benefit. If I don't see it that way, then I need to relax. I didn't even read the rest of it, and I came to relax. The minute you take a breath, relax. When you feel the uptightness pulling in and the resistance to life, what you resist persists. And his brush, I remember giving him shit for that brush. It's persisted. So finally, I put the damn brush away. There's no resistance to it at all. None. But back in the day, there was resistance. Can you think of something in your life that you've resisted a lot? You could take a breath and realize you don't need to resist it. There's no need to resist it. Our minds are the thought process is the single reason there is suffering on this planet. That's the only reason. How we think. And what I talk about is a different way of thinking. So if you're interested, if you want to stop your suffering, it's all up to you. Nobody else is going to change until you do. And when you're not resisting anymore, there's harmony in the body. And you can start loving yourself. And when a thought comes up of, I'm not enough, or resistance to something, and you feel it in your body, it's uncomfortable as shit. It feels awful. It's your body's way of letting you know that what you're thinking, usually it's coming from that little me, the thought based me that is separate from God, which isn't true. Last week I talked about the wave. Say God is the ocean and we are the waves. Comes up for a little bit of time and then goes back into the wave. Yeah, I mean, back into the ocean. The wave goes back into the ocean. I also like to call it the wind. We are the wind. You'll never see it, but it moves this. The wind, you can't contain it. Your mind can't ever see the wind. But you see the movement, what the wind creates. And we are really energy. And our energies, our emotions happen with resistance to life. That negative emotions come from resistance to life. He shouldn't have done that. He should be different. She should do this. She blah, 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 blah. Stories. We have stories about somebody else. We're not living in their shoes. And we believe these stories about the other person. We actually believe the stories about ourselves that has happened along the way and how we've done it wrong or somebody else has done it wrong to me. It's not true. The to me is the victim mentality. When we're coming from our thoughts, we are victims of life, of the others. We are victims. There is no victims. And if something has happened seemingly happened to you along the way, it's gone. Hanging on to it, how does that feel? Hanging on to a story that happened when you were young or coming up through the years. What is that doing inside of you? You're blaming the other person. How the best, if you're believing something that seemingly happened to you, this you is literally a bunch of thoughts about a you that doesn't really exist. This is all just happening. There's no Lori inside of here making these hands move, making these words come out. It's literally part of the flow of life. And the mind thinks it's in control. The thoughts think, I have to control this or it's going to go wrong. Something bad's going to happen if I don't. But the thing is, it's always saying something bad is happening. Nothing bad is happening. How can you be okay with what's seemingly happening? How can it just be okay? That's what you can ask when you come up against a wall, when your mind goes, oh, I don't want this. I don't want this. What if you just said, it's okay? How can it be okay? Ask. Ask inside. Ask whatever. How can this be okay? Why is this not okay? My girlfriend is now asking these questions because somebody came up in her face and said a bunch of things about her that she doesn't. I don't even know how that came up about her, but what, because I know her pretty well, and there ain't none of that what she was accused of. So it got her to laugh, to actually go inside and ask, wow, do I come across that way? What? Does he not know me? Yeah. Finally, she's asking the question instead of reacting. Good morning, Margie. Yeah, reacting to life from the mind, it's immediate. The thoughts come. There's a seeming happening, and then there's a, or there's even an acceptance of it. The acceptance of it is better in the body, but neither one is good or bad. That's duality. That's the separation in life, which there is none. There is only one. the one thing. It's just our minds that chop everything up, chops segments up, chops minutes up, chops life up, a tree, separating everything instead of that continuous flow. Now, I have been hearing this for years about the continuous flow of life, and I do not think that I've got this down. I do not. It's just something I've been taught, and it resonates deeply in me because there's been so much less suffering, so much so that I did not and still haven't suffered with mom and dad's passing. Mom, dad, not Phyllis. Boom, 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 boom. I mean, dad died February 23rd of 2023. Aunt Phyllis died 6 weeks later. His sister, who was the only, they were the only two Pelletiers on our side left. Then, then Mom died a week less than a year later. Didn't know any of that was coming, but there was zero regret. They knew I loved them. They knew, I knew they loved me. And it didn't have to be a certain way, finally, because I used, well, when dad was younger, he drank all the time. I didn't have a relationship with him, basically. But the, when you become okay and feel that love inside you, no one else has to be a certain way for you to love them. They don't have to be a certain way because you realize that they are that love too. Now, this is not complete in me either, but a lot more than it used to be because that love is felt. And there can be thoughts that rise up when you're with somebody that says something like they shouldn't be doing that. Why are they doing that? They're hurting their body. That all that judgment, that's all putting the wall up from your end. That's stopping the love. So I see the thoughts, dismiss them, dismiss them. They are not me. It's literally a thought arguing with what is, thinking something should be different than it is. And it isn't. It's just what is. How can it be okay? How can that love still flow? How can you not block the love that you are? Not block it, even though the judgments come. As you start seeing that you're not the judgments, you start seeing the thoughts. You start seeing the thoughts that are, and you can recognize, oh, it's just a thought. It doesn't have to mean a damn thing. It can just be there, just like the actual thing that seems to be happening. It's just a thought. It doesn't have to be entertained. You can even laugh at them. Sometimes I do laugh at them. Sometimes I can't think of what was it this week. There's something big that I'm sitting here cracking up by myself because of the thoughts that are coming. It just makes life lighter. And it seems, who said I was cold? Is it Peter? Shit, there was something I didn't react to in a certain way. Wow, that's cold. I said, yeah, it does seem that way, doesn't it? Because I'm not holding on to grief and missing and all of that about mom and dad. It seems cold to the mind, to the all the ones that believe that they are their thoughts. It seems cold. Well, let me tell you, when you accept what is, it ain't cold. It is warm. It is smooth as silk. That flow of life with no resistance, no fighting. Oh my God, it's magic. It's magic. I wanted to bring up magic because after talking to mom and dad when I was 35, I, when Dad said he loved me, and all of it. It was just magical because I felt the love. All the thoughts were gone. There was no resistance to anything. No matter what came up, it was just okay. There was no fighting it. I even, my sister was having a hard time with me. That's when everything started changing between us. She was having a hard time with me because I was a certain way in our lives. And this is a story, and I know this is a story. It was a certain way, and I always tried to make things better. My personality was please them to the detriment of me a lot of times, but it was okay. It was just what was. And then I didn't do that anymore. And it wasn't well received with the people who were used to me being a certain way. And then it felt like magic. It literally felt like life was magical because I went from believing I was these thoughts. There was no separation between the thoughts. It was just, I was it. I was every thought that came up. There was no recognition of any of them, which was mind blowing when I found out that I'm not those thoughts. Every thought that comes up, you can watch it, you can laugh at it. You don't have to go down the road of doom with it. You don't have to. It is possible. And you can use those situations when you come up and it's a contraction inside. You can use every situation to go, okay, back to relaxing the body. Because when the emotions arise, there's tightness, there's discontent inside, upset. And then the thoughts come. I have someone I'm talking to whose girlfriend walked out, and she, he was thinking she's taking the love away from him. That ain't true. The love resides in you, and he's beginning to be open to that. And the same with another one. I have two guys that, oh, this week was magical for both of them. I think what my role is to point out the magic as you're changing because our minds are so programmed to the negative, and the positive goes right by. It's not even noticed, literally. So I just stop. Actually, I have four people this week that I've been talking to that have seen through their bullshit, not their bullshit, seen through the bullshit in their minds. Less suffering. Hmm? The one of them, you know who you are. He was so grateful. The words he said to me, because where he's at right now, even though she walked out and has a new beau, um, he's not he's not hating it. He's just loving her, have his compassion for her. Because I called him when I saw it on Facebook, and I said, how are you doing? Because we hadn't talked in a while. And he was, oh my God, so great. Because he was labeled a monster, and he believed it. He believed he was a monster with the things that he did. But he did them out of belief. We watched last night, Peter and I watched something with Nicole Kidman. It's a new movie with Nicole Kidman and Antonio Banderas. There's a lot of sex in it. I didn't have any idea that was coming, but it was, oh, who I'm talking about. You need to see this movie because you see the innocence. I saw what she was doing, just coming from, she was older. She ended up going with a younger woman, I mean, a younger guy. A younger guy that was, you could see the whole thing playing out. And I know I've been there. I understand it so well. No one is a monster. Affairs happen because our mind gets comfortable, but there's discomfort. It gets comfortable in the relationship, and then a thought will come up. Oh, maybe that's better. Something else would be better. And then the affair starts, and then there's an aliveness because it's the two people that come together, just like a original coming together feeds the ego. It feeds the thoughts of, oh, I'm special. No one is special. No one is special. If one is special, then everyone is, because we're all looking for love and we don't know what love is. We think that aliveness, that it must be love, because I remember when it happened to me. The boys were 6 and 10. This is when whole freaking different way of life started. Was I was looking to better myself from the outside. Another relationship is the biggest deterrent, especially a new relationship. It'll derail that, and money, acquisition of money, a lot of money will change. There's no connection to the inside, and it will just go. It'll. I mean, well, money just comes and goes anyway. We don't. They're holding on to it is from lack, from fear of not trusting that what's happening is for our highest good. Anyway, so looking for that, I remember driving to work because this was work. I'd go to work, and this guy his name was Bobby, and he was, we just started this little flirting thing. There was a mutual energy that was, and I remember driving to work because I used to go in the butt crack of dawn. I'd have to leave between 4 and 5 in the morning, and I was anticipating seeing him and the excitement and all that. And then I said, a song came on the radio. Why do you have to lose something to appreciate it? Something like that. And because I was thinking, the fear was losing Peter during the whole thing. It was that fear of I'm doing something wrong was what brought the shame and shit that was covered over by the excitement, the aliveness of the new, getting together with somebody else. And I question that. What? What? That's two. I love Peter and I love Bobby. Do I? What? 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 And that's when my boss said, I feel Peter's pain when he saw this flirtation going on. So he is the one who asked me to go talk to my parents. He talked to me for a lot. We would take lunches that would last like 3 hours. We'd go to a certain restaurant. It was a buffet. It's called China Rose I don't even know if it's still open now, in in Brunswick. We'd go from Hannaford, that's where I worked, at the grocery store, and he was getting divorced at the time, so it was perfect. Life just knows what it's doing. He had time to just sit with me and really talk to me about how superficial I was. There was no depth to me at all. It was starting because I was starting to ask, what, how could I love too? But now I know that I can love everybody, and there is nobody better. There's nobody better. I know. It's such a, when you come to find out that you're the love that you're looking for out there in the houses and cars and money and another relationship, you ain't ever going to find it out there. That's what I keep saying. You are never going to find the love that you are out there. Never. It's an inside job. You got to go in and ask these questions. I was like, what? And that's when mom and dad talked to me about when I asked why I didn't feel loved growing up. And I was looking for love outside of myself. Even in them, we look to be loved by our parents, and we don't believe we are. Because there's reprimanding. There, I am working at a school now with kids, like 5-year-olds, and the teachers are yelling at them, and some of these kids are so sensitive. I feel it. Oh my God. So I'm just targeting because I get to go in another room with them to work on their ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. And speaking of, that's another thing affecting 5-year-olds. I mean, I walk in this room and they are all running to me. I love you. They're kissing my belly because that's where they come up to, and they're so. I missed you. Tomorrow's gonna be. I missed you. It's so cute. But that love is coming back. I'm giving it. It's coming back. It's so sweet. Anyway, um, the yelling, the demanding they be different than they're being moved to be. And I know it can't be chaos in a room with trying to teach kids, but some of the I can see the triggers in the teacher. I see the triggers in her. So I'm just loving her. I'm just loving her from the inside. I do love her. I can't help it. I mean, she's a sweet. Oh my God, we have great conversations, and some of my stuff is coming out because I can feel that. I feel the energy of kids, of people, and there was 2 kids that were actually there's 3 that are not the bubbly 5-year-olds that usually are. 5-year-olds don't have that strong uh, voice inside that's saying I'm doing it wrong. But those 3, so one of them, I single worked with her and have said my little things to her. I said, "Do you love you?" And she says, "No." I said, "What?" I said, "I love you." She looked at me like, you know, and she feels it. She feels it's basically a feeling. It is not about our words. As we come to get out of the thoughts, we start coming into our heart and the love that we are, and it is so. It feels because we're not taught to feel. We're taught to learn. We have to learn. It's all left brain ego shit. Our right brain, where our sensitivities are, our emotions are driven from. They're, well, I could even question that now. That was a belief I had that I could question because it's literally just the love from our hearts. As we open our minds our hearts open, and it just accepts what is. And if it doesn't, you can feel the contraction. You know you're in your head. You're not in your love. Your love. You're not in it when you're contracted. You're stuck. Let it be a temple bell to go, oh shit. Lori says, if I'm uncomfortable, I'm in my head. I'm believing I'm this person who's fighting through life. That's not who you are. Jimmy, deep breathing, so important in many ways. Keeps the internal combustion going strong. Your life may depend on this. I love you too, Jimmykins. It's so true. We don't breathe. If you recognize when you're in fight or flight, you in your head, I call it what was it? A thought storm. If you're in a thought storm, it's literally a storm constantly coming. If you take a breath, it gets you out of it. It actually it'll come back, but you can bring yourself back to the breath again. back to the love that you are. And as you breathe, breathe with me. Feel your shoulders come down. Feel the, can you feel the aliveness around your heart? Can you feel that when you breathe and relax your body? Can you feel the aliveness in your feet? You didn't even know your feet were there. There was no attention on them. Feel the aliveness in your toes. Do you feel that aliveness? Not just in your toes. Follow it up. Follow it all the way up through. Ah, that's what we are. That energy. And when we're angry and when we hold on to stories of the past, who did something to me, I'm a victim, all that energy is stuck in the body in certain places, usually in the gut, in the belly, stuck in there. Breathe. Find out where it's painful. My girlfriend Judy, who her and I did the work for years. We went to Byron Katie together, and we were the only two in my whole group of people who consistently did the work. Byron Katie's thoughts are judge the shit out of somebody and then turn it around and see that it's always been you. But it's gently. Can you know that that thought is true, that their life is blah 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 blah, they did blah blah blah, and do you know, can you absolutely know that the story you have about somebody else is true? Your mind might say, oh yes, I know. No, you don't. Until you've walked in their shoes, you do not know. You don't even know what's true in your own head, never mind somebody else's life. And then when you're blaming somebody else for hurting you, 3 fingers are pointing back at you. I always say that. Those 3 fingers are pointing back at you. Nobody's hurting you but you. Nobody has ever hurt you but you. Your parents didn't hurt you. You were the one that created, not intentionally, it's just the way the mind, the patterns of thought are, I'm doing it wrong. Because the grown-ups are saying you're doing it wrong. So we take on that belief of I'm doing it wrong. It's a pattern of thought. I'm doing it wrong. And then it goes into more patterns. The pattern starts with I'm doing it wrong, and then it goes into all the stories. That's not you. Those stories are keeping you from the love that you are. You can block off that person and keep that story strong, but it's living. That story is living in you. And that's blocking you from experiencing the love that you are. That was beautiful. I don't know if you followed it. Whoever's been with me, at least for the past year, you have to have followed that. I hope you did. If not, back it up, because that was just exactly what's happening here. We're blaming other people for the way we're feeling, and it isn't true. Each person, even if it looks horrible, each person is your gift for you to look inside and find the love that you are. And if you're blaming them for the way you're feeling, you're hurting you. Isn't it time you be your best friend? And then be everybody's friend. That's the way it works. As you find the love that you are, it doesn't hurt you anymore. Whatever's happening, you know it's for you. You know you're not a victim of it. So you don't hurt anyone. You just love them. And they don't know what to do. They end up changing themselves because they don't know what to do. They're like, they're expecting resistance because our mind is resistance. So it's putting it out there and wants it back because it wants to fight. But if it comes up with love instead of a fight, What the fuck is that? Why is she still, why is she loving me? Why don't I love me? That's the bottom line to life. I guess I don't need to duck anymore. Because that's it. Half an hour. Oh, no, 40 minutes. That's it. What else is there to say? Literally, what else is there to say? Unless somebody has a question, that's all I can. I appreciate. I appreciate all of you being here. You know, I turned this thing off. It says I have 3 people. I turn it off, and there's like almost 100 people have watched it live. It says 3. There's my mind trying to. There you go. I can feel it. Trying to make the computer run. And another thing, when I laugh hard, I cough. And I started thinking about it this week. My Mimi, my dad's mom, same thing. My dad, same thing. Me, what? My sister. But I don't smoke, and I never have smoked. So I don't know. I, it must be just a thing. It was brought up in one of my groups, a new group that I really enjoying. His name is Seth, the guy. He's from Maine. He had a near-death experience, and I freaking like it. Maine. His life. Whoo, he's doing some great things in Brunswick, and now I'm not even there. What the hell? Anyway, I don't know. There's things going on here too, but I don't. I don't know. I don't feel like I need to go to something. I guess if I do, I'll find myself going there. My feet will take me. But the love that I feel for Lori has grown so much. She is such a sweet person. And she came from mom and dad, who the combination of the two of them created someone who just loves people. And obviously, she must have loved herself too, because she's always loved people. There were ones that were, you know, blamed. There was one, his name was Tom, when I was young. He was so mean to me. Oh my God. And my mother says to me, I mean, I hated him. There was nobody. I've never hated somebody like I hated Tom. I mean, I just like people, but his was hate. I remember being young, very young, and just hate. And our parents were friends. So my mother says to me one day, "Don't you marry him." I was like, "What? What?" Because she says sometimes when you hate somebody so much. Now I married somebody that's completely opposite. He was only mean to me because I had triggers within. He was triggering the shit out of me and bringing up so much resentment and anger and blame. But I was young. I was, what, 10? I maybe a young teenager. No, that's when it started going away because I started hanging around with other guys. Started the I like you thing. 13. And then Peter and I are together at 14. 14? Hannah's going to be 16. God, when I think of that. What? We were 14 years old. It's amazing that we've come through what we've come through, honestly. And still love each other. Yeah, when I was with Bobby, I wasn't really with him, but when we would do things, when I go to his place or whatever. I wrote about this in my scamming book. I wrote about a lot of my life lessons, life things in my book. I gotta get that book out there because it's the scam was the culmination. It was perfect. It was a blessing. It was a blessing. I just didn't look through it. There was so much pain, shame, and God, the pain of all of that. Only because I was resisting it. Being stupid, it brought up stupid. I thought that was gone a long time ago, but because everybody tried to tell me. Oh, that's another thing, the AI thing. That brings me back to the AI thing I just started. That's from the beginning of this. I'm playing around. I've been playing around with AI for a long time, for over a year now. The little app called Bing. It You can talk to it and tell it whatever scene you want, and it'll bring up four of them for you. You just wait like 30 seconds, and then bing, everything. And then now the ones on Facebook, you can make you. And so somebody underneath my thing, a friend of mine, who tried to warn me about the scam, tried to warn me about AI. Yes, AI could be used negatively, but whatever is happening in my life is a bless. She said, "Be careful," which is coming from fear, because she's in the law enforcement business and she sees what's happening with it. People taking the making up pictures and putting voices to it, but that's what they can do that now with regular pictures, which is what I was going to say, but I didn't. I started to type it and then I went, you know what? I don't need to. I said, thank you for telling me. She goes, I hope you take it seriously, and it's on my radar, but whatever life is going to bring me, I'm okay with it. Whatever is happening is for me. Another lesson is coming. Another coming back to the love that I am is coming, whatever it happens to be. If it looks like it is bad or wrong, that's more for me to go inside and come from the love. There's no need to fear. There is no need to fear life. If you're on this path of awakening to what's really going on in life, you wouldn't be here listening to this for almost 50 minutes if you weren't on an awakening journey. Give yourself that. There's no way you could even entertain. Peter doesn't entertain this. I've been 30 years on a different path. He ain't on it. Part of him is on it when he feels it, and I think that's what happened when we sold the house and got in the RV and went. But he's still resisting. He's still fighting. He's still. But it's okay. I just love him. I just love him through it. That's all I can do. Love him, even though he's hating Florida. He loved it before we lived here. Now he looks at it as traffic, and he's fighting everything. I don't know. Yeah, it is what it is. Just love him through it. Just love everybody through their shit and realize it has nothing to do with you. Nothing. If couples knew, just like what you would call an affair, I didn't sleep with anybody, but if it's looked at as an affair, the shame, the guilt, all that, what if that's just life happening? Because it has something that had everything to do with me, nothing to do with him. But if it affects him negatively, then just like the scamming thing, he's still holding that against me. I see it, I feel it, but I'm like one of my new people that I'm talking to. It started off exactly like the scam. I'm telling you, I could not have scripted this better to be in my face. I'm being scammed. It sworn to secrecy. All the little things are just lining up exactly the way. Even she called him Frank. She called me Frank. He's like, I can't believe you're not seeing this is a scam. I said, nope. He said, you said that with Frank too. And I said, but there was doubt with Frank. With this one, it's no doubt. She's amazing. And she's come a long way in a couple of weeks too. And that's what I do. Just point out, because our minds don't look at it. I just point out, look, notice. You can notice. You don't need my help. You can notice, oh, I used to react this way to something. Now it's different. Huh. Maybe it's different because you're different. Ooh, that's what I'm going to title this. It's different because you're different. I'm going to title that. I think that's a good one. All right. Am I done? Yeah, Cynthia thought I was done. Cynthia, I think you're learning. It might seem like I'm done, but I'm done. I think I'm done. This was beautiful. I'm going to a luncheon today with a lady who is, oh, here we go. I guess it's not done. Who is 96 years old. We went to the art fair yesterday with her. Two of my besties. And that oh my God, the creativity of people. God, we didn't get very far. And it's not because she can't walk it, it's because I do talk to a lot of artists too. That's why I can understand. But she talked. We didn't even see a quarter of this art show because she literally talked to each one 10 or more minutes each. So we had to cut her off. My girlfriend and I went further and around and back and then came to make her go across. So that was only one wing of this. Oh my God. But we're going to have luncheon with her. Her name is Artemis. She paints. She was a teacher of piano her whole life. And then at 55, I think she said, she picked up, just like another one of my people, picked up painting. Oh, her paintings are unbelievable. Just like my other friend on here, her art, she didn't even know. You guys don't even know the talent you have within. Anyway, okay. Until next Sunday, I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Breathe and don't resist. I love you.